Some stories don't fade, they linger. They stay in your chest long after they're over. And today, we're diving into one of those stories, the life and legacy of Nicola Pietrangeli, a man who didn't just play tennis, he shaped the very soul of it in Italy. So sit with me for a moment because this isn't just about sports. This is about greatness, heartbreak, history, and the kind of legacy that doesn't die. Nicola Pietrangeli was born on September 11th, 1933, in Tunis. A child of an Italian father and a Russian mother, raised in a world shaken by war and uncertainty. His childhood wasn't glamorous, it wasn't easy, but somewhere between the chaos, a young boy found a tennis racket. And that simple act set the course for one of the most iconic careers in the history of the sport. When his family moved to Rome after the war, tennis became his escape, his sanctuary, his future. And from the moment he stepped in the clay, it was clear there was something different about him. There was elegance in his movement, a smoothness to his one-handed backhand, a sense of artistry in everything he did. People didn't just watch him, they were mesmerized. Then came the breakthrough that changed everything. In 1959, Nicola Pietrangeli became the first Italian man to win the French Open. It wasn't just a victory, it was a moment of national pride. A moment that said, Italy belongs on the world stage. And like any true champion, he didn't stop there. In 1960, he returned to Roland Garros and won again. This time, after a brutal five-set war, pushing himself until his socks were stained with his own blood. That wasn't luck. That wasn't just talent. That was heart. He went on to dominate not only singles, but doubles and mixed doubles, too. He won the French Open doubles title, the mixed doubles crown, and made the semifinals at Wimbledon. He collected more than 40 singles titles in his career, each one another stroke of paint on a masterpiece that he kept building year after year. But one of the most defining chapters of Nicola's life was the Davis Cup. For nearly 2 decades, he carried Italy on his back. No player in Davis Cup history won more matches than he did. And while victory as a player slipped through his fingers, fate had something bigger planned. When he became captain, he guided Italy to its first ever Davis Cup triumph in 1976. It was poetic, a lifetime of fight finally rewarded. His impact didn't go unnoticed. In 1986, he entered the International Tennis Hall of Fame, becoming the only Italian male tennis player ever given that honor. And in Rome, one of the most beautiful tennis stadiums in the world carries his name, Stadio Nicola Pietrangeli, a temple of clay built in honor of the man who ruled it. But beyond the titles and the records, there was the man. Charming, witty, and sometimes brutally honest. Nicola loved life. He loved fun. He loved the beauty of the world just as much as he loved winning. He once admitted that maybe he could have trained harder and won more, but then he wouldn't have enjoyed life the way he did. He lived with elegance, with humor, and with soul. He married model Susanna Artero, and together they raised 3 sons, Marco, Giorgio, and Filippo. He adored them, but life, as it often does, brought pain too. In July 2025, Nicola lost his son, Giorgio, the kind of loss no parent ever truly recovers from. As Nicola aged, his body began to slow. In late 2024, he suffered a hip fracture that marked the beginning of a difficult decline. Yet he remained strong, still appearing at events, still offering opinions, still being the icon that everyone knew him to be. Then, on December 1st, 2025, the world stopped for a moment. Nicola Pietrangeli passed away in Rome at the age of 92. The official cause of death wasn't publicly detailed, but his final months had been marked by complications from his injury and age. The tennis world reacted immediately with heartbreak, with gratitude, and with awe. Tributes poured in from all over the globe. Former players, rising stars, journalists, fans, all reflecting on the man who made Italian tennis what it is today. At his memorial in Rome, hundreds gathered. The air was filled with stories, laughter, tears. Old rivals embraced like brothers. People remembered not just his tennis, but his presence, his charm, his fire. Because Nicola wasn't just a champion, he was a vibe, a spirit, a man who brought elegance and swagger to a sport that wasn't always glamorous. And maybe that's why his story hit so hard. Because Nicola didn't play for money. In his era, prize money was barely enough to pay the rent. He played for love, for passion, for the magic of the game. He gave the world a version of tennis that was pure, driven by heart, not by fame or fortune. His legacy is bigger than trophies. It lives in the clay courts of Rome, in the players he inspired, in the Italy he made proud, and in the millions of people who saw in him something more than an athlete. They saw a legend. So today, we say goodbye to a pioneer, to the king of Italian clay, to a man whose backhand was art, whose humor lit up every room, and whose legacy will echo in the world of tennis forever. Rest in peace, Nicola Pietrangeli. The courts are quieter now, but your echo remains, and it always will.